Hi everyone, and welcome to video number 4. I am going to be discussing 4 of the 8 nonverbal codes, and the 4 that I am going to be discussing and going further in depth with you are facial communication, physical appearance, artifacts, and paralanguage. So first I'm going to start out with facial communication. So facial communication is basically just expressions on the face that sends us messages. This is a definition that was given to me by the Interpersonal Communication Building Rewarding Relationships textbooks. And it also explained different important features of facial communication, such as eyebrows and how they move when you communicate, eyes, the nose, and also the lips. So there are 3 different functions of facial communication, and the first one is to display emotion. And there's an acronym for some different emotions that are often associated with facial communication, and that acronym is SADFISH. And SADFISH stands for S, sadness, A, anger, D, disgust, F, fear, I, interest, S, surprise, and H, happiness. So these are just a few emotions that are often displayed through facial communication. The second function of facial communication would be to supplement the verbal message or verbal communication. And an example of this given by the textbook would be present opening. So when your friend is opening a present that you got them, you can totally tell right away if they like it or not. Sometimes they could try to cover it up, like, oh, I really like it, but their facial communication kind of says otherwise. So I think that in this aspect, facial communication is really important and often stresses what an individual is truly feeling when they're opening their present, for example. And the third function of facial communication would be to complement the verbal message or the verbal communication. And examples of these would be raising eyebrows when you talk and opening eyes really wide. So like an example would be someone's like, oh, guess what I did today, versus guess what I did today. You can tell the difference between also the tone of voice, which is another subcategory of nonverbal communication, but you can just tell based on their facial communication that they're really excited in the second example versus the first one of guess what I did today. And also an example that falls under this third category would be oculesics, which would be the study of the eye behavior. And this has been often very studied recently because different cultures use eye contact in different manners, which is also another reason why it's important to study and practice nonverbal communication. But the study of the eyes has been important to show because eye contact in America is considered polite, is considered engaging, where in Asia and Asian cultures, eye contact from a woman to a man, or even someone who is lower in authority to someone who is upper in authority, is considered disrespectful. So I think there's another reason of why studying different cultures is important. But oculesics basically is a very important part of facial communication because here in the United States, we see eye contact and oculesics as something that is polite and something that is desired in the United States. So that's just a brief description of facial communication for you and why it's so important to nonverbal communication, because it helps us convey messages and show others what we are truly feeling even when our verbal message doesn't exactly match the nonverbal message. So it's very important to analyze facial communication when you're talking to someone to see how they truly feel and to see if their messages are valid verbally and non-verbally. So that is facial communication for you. And next I will be talking about physical appearance and why that is so important in nonverbal communication. Hi everyone, so now I'm going to be discussing physical appearance, which is another nonverbal code example. So different categories that would fall under physical appearance would be someone's body shape, the clothing they're wearing, the makeup they have on, their height, their size, and their hair or hairstyle. So I think that physical appearance is really important because it shows other people whether you care, whether you don't care. If you're lazy, for example, if you're really active, your body shape can portray that, or your makeup can tell someone like, oh, I'm just relaxing at home, I'm just wearing casual clothing. Or if you're wearing a dress, lots of makeup, you could tell someone, oh, like maybe they're going to the prom or a wedding or something like that. So I think that physical appearance shows lots of communication through just simply what someone's wearing. It's also very important for first impressions, as I discussed in the last segment of this video. And so one thing that falls under physical appearance is also called homophily, which is basically defined as how similar we consider ourselves to another person. So research has kind of shown that we are attracted to people who are kind of the same attractiveness level as us, and we tend to form relationships, whether it's romantic or just social friendships, with people who look similar to ourselves, act similar to ourselves, and portray themselves similar to ourselves, I guess. And so one thing that this section of the book really stressed was the different body types that are often associated with different attitudes of people. So the first type of the three is called endomorph, and it is basically the people who are very short, kind of round, soft, and these people are commonly stereotyped to be very lazy, less good looking, less motivated, don't really work out that much. And so that is the endomorph. And so the second one is the mesomorph, which is people who are really physically fit, really muscular. They're kind of an average height, average weight. And this in the textbook was shown to be what ideal college students desire for themselves and desire for other people. And the third one is called ectomorph, which is very tall, thin, frail people, and these people are often associated to be very quiet, kind of introverts, and don't really have much confidence, kind of socially awkward type people. And often this is associated with models in the media, and the media is often criticized for putting a lot of ectomorphs out in the media because of their desired body shape, especially in women when compared to men. And so these three body types, endomorph, mesomorph, and ectomorph, are, I think, really important to understand, because even though someone's outer description may display them as lazy or active or vice versa, lots of times these don't actually match up. So these could end up being inaccurate stereotypes. So somebody who's kind of heavier or obese may be trying to become more fit, or they may be fit but they just have a history of obesity in their family. Or rather, people who are mesomorphs, who are really physically fit and like average height, average weight, might have just gotten lucky, or they just have good genes where they don't work out that much, but they just somehow the weight falls off of them and they just look a lot more muscular. So I think that it's really important to understand that a body type on the outside may not exactly match up with someone's internal goals, values, and their motivation. Physical appearance just shows how much you care. So if I were to wear this to a job interview at a business corporation, I think that they would probably not take you very seriously. But if I were to wear this to my summer job, which is being a nanny, which I did wear this today, I think that they would be much more understanding, like, oh, she's going to be outside with the kids all day, it's hot out, whatever. So I think that physical appearance does tell other people what you're interested in, what you're doing that day, just different aspects of your life. So even if someone doesn't have the opportunity to talk to you or verbally communicate, I think that your attire definitely, and just your overall body image just displays how you are as a person. I changed something about my physical appearance just to stress the importance of it as a form of nonverbal communication. Can you tell what it is? It's my sweatshirt. And it says Prescott football. Just based on a simple clothing change like this, you can portray something that somebody wouldn't know about you unless you were wearing this. So for example, if I'm walking down the hallway at UWL and someone comes up to me and they're like, "Oh, hey, you're from Prescott, Wisconsin?" I'm like, "Yeah, of course I am," because I'm wearing a Prescott sweatshirt. Whereas if I weren't wearing this, if I was just wearing a plain t-shirt or something else, someone probably wouldn't know that I'm from Prescott. So I think that this is just an important example of how clothing that you're wearing can really portray something important about your life. So that is physical appearance for you, and next I will be talking about artifacts and how important they are to nonverbal communication. And artifacts are actually kind of similarly related to physical appearance because it's solely related to what you see on a person rather than what you're hearing from a person, which is important for nonverbal communication. Another one of the nonverbal codes for nonverbal communication would be artifacts. And artifacts, based on the textbook definition, are basically physical objects and environmental attributes that communicate directly or through context. So an example of this would be personal adornment, which would be jewelry, tattoos, scars, makeup, body piercing, glasses, just different things like that. So if you look at me and you look at my artifacts, you can see that I'm wearing here a cross necklace, and I wear it every day just because it's something that I never take off. So if you were to look at me without even knowing me, you could probably guess, oh, she's a Christian, she's wearing a cross necklace. So I think that artifacts are really important in showing other people who you are and what you value and things in your life that are really important to you, because tattoos many times say different quotes or honor people who died, stuff like that. So I think that people, even if they don't know you, can relate to you or understand something that's really important in your life just through artifacts. Another part of artifacts would be environmental adornment. So walking into someone's room, you can see different things that are important to them. So if you take a look around my room right now, on this side, you can see that there's a mirror, so you can see that I'm very, I like to look at my outfits in the morning. I'm concerned with my personal appearance, and you can always also see pink shades, pink walls. I have a lot of pink in my room, so you can see that the color. This is actually an example of the next thing, which would be environmental factors, which is the color of my room, the lighting of my room. But you can see that I like the color pink. And relating back to environmental adornment, you can see that there's a memories picture board up on my wall right now. It's actually empty because I am in the process of changing the pictures on it, but I really like to take pictures. If you were to walk into my room on any other given day, you could understand that. I really like to take pictures, and I like to print them, and I like to hang them up around my room. So that is just an example of how environmental adornment and environmental factors can help you see how someone really is just by looking at their house, their apartment, their room, their car even, just like different things that they own, different places that they spend a lot of their time. And I think that a good example was given in the book where they said that, why do you think that classroom walls are white, and why do you think the walls are really barren, not a lot of posters, stuff like that for especially older students. And the conclusion that I came up with is, you don't, when you're learning and you're in an educational facility, you don't want to be distracted with lots of bright colors, lots of distractions, posters on the wall, unrelated content to what you're learning. And especially at UWL in college, you don't have a specific room that's designated to a specific subject a lot of times, so the walls are just kind of barren to help you concentrate and relate to the content of that class and listen to the professor. So I think that this is a really good example of how artifacts and the environment that you're learning and teaching in is a really important part of nonverbal communication.